All right. We're back here at Song of the Day, coming to you from the Rock Cave as usual. I'm your host, Mark Pierce. Today is Tuesday, July 7th, right? Am I right on that? Yeah. So we had something already planned for today. We're going to have to move that down to Thursday because we're switching things up a little bit just to prove these videos are made in a timely fashion. The music world lost a music icon, briefly icon. Charlie Daniels died yesterday at the age of 83. If you didn't know he was still alive, he was. Now he's not. Let's talk about that for a minute. Born in Wilmington, North Carolina, grew up listening to AM radios out of Nashville, the likes of R&B, bluegrass, gospel, the typical stuff. Managed to learn multiple instruments before he graduates from high school. Can play the banjo, the mandolin, the fiddle, the guitar when he graduates high school and decides to start a rock band and start writing music. He became a session musician in Nashville. He co-wrote a song, It Hurts Me, which ended up being recorded by Elvis Presley in '64. He had a hit, Uneasy Rider, that went into number 9 pretty early on. He also played fiddle on the first 5 of the first early albums from Marshall Tucker Band. Did not know that. And then he started having hits with Charlie Daniels Band. '75 started to kind of turn things up for him. He got The South Is Gonna Do It Again and Long Haired Country Boy. That's the kind of music I start to remember as a kid. But I think I remember Long Haired Country Boy first. And then 1979 changes everything because he puts out that album that has The Devil Went Down to Georgia. Of course, I remember hearing that on Casey Kasem's American Top 40, which is what we did every Saturday morning for 3.5, 4 hours, was to put our cassette tapes up against the recorder against another radio so that we could try to record the whole show. But Devil Went Down to Georgia, one of the earliest songs I remember memorizing all the lyrics to. It's a catchy tune. I mean, it's a classic story about the devil down on his luck, short on souls, finds a guy with a fiddle and says, hey, I'll make you a bet. I'll bet you I can play fiddle better than you. And if you win, you'll get a fiddle of gold. And if I win, I get your soul. And the guy's thinking to himself, I know it's a sin, but I think I can play fiddle better than this guy. So I'll take your bet and you're gonna regret, because I'm the best there's ever been. And that's exactly what happens. So that pretty much kicks things off, and he gets some more hits. 1980, he gets In America, which is a response to the Iran hostage situation. And Still in Saigon went to number 22 in '82. In America was number 11. And then there was this song, 1980. This did go to number 31. The song is called The Legend of the Woolly Swamp. This one's near and dear to my heart. I don't know about you, but it is for me, because in middle school, we're back to middle school 2 days in a row. In English class, same English class that I had a dance with the B-52s, our assignment was to write out the lyrics of a song and read it to the class as if it were a story. Simple enough, right? So I chose this song because it basically does just that. It's this tale of basically a story of that you should not go to the woolly swamp, especially at night, because there's stuff out there that will even make a strong man die from fright, right? That's how bad it is. But there was this old man who lived out there. His name was Lucius Clay, and he was greedy, and nobody liked him. He didn't like people. All he liked was his money, and he put his money in mason jars, and he buried it around his cabin. And then if he looked outside and the moon was a certain way, if the moon was right, he'd dig up all his mason jars and count his money and just roll around in it on his cabin floor and then put it back in and then bury it again. I mean, this is like the greatest American tale, right? This is just good stuff, right? So he would do that, And somehow people figured that out. Who knows how they knew that? But the Creighton boys, they were white trash. They were from Parvis Creek. I mean, that's everyone from Parvis Creek is white trash, right? And they would, I mean, they were belligerent when they speak, everything. I mean, these were just nasty guys. And the oldest brother says, hey, we're going to go to the woolly swamp and we're going to get that money and we're going to beat that guy and we're going to feed him to the alligators. So that's exactly what they do. They go out to the woolly swamp. They find him out there with 13 mason jars. Of course, it's 13. And they rough him up, throw him in the swamp, as one would do. And as he sinks down, they're just like laughing and laughing. So then they go get their money. They get their jars, and they go to run. And lo and behold, they can't run anymore because there's quicksand there. And they sink in the ground. And the last thing they hear is the old man laughing before they go under. And 50 years later, if you go walking out to the woolly swamp and you find that old cabin abandoned, there's a little wet area in the back. And if you go back there, if the moon is right, you can hear 3 men screaming and 1 man laughing. Let that be a lesson to you. So that was my story, Legend of the Woolly Swamp. Great song by Charlie Daniels Band. But that is not my song of the day. I'll post that on there for you. He would go on and do a lot of stuff. He won all kinds of Lifetime Achievement Awards and everything else. But of course, the song of the day today has to be The Devil Went Down to Georgia. I mean, right? That's what you got to have, right? So who remembers it? Do you guys remember when you were kids? What do you think of that song? Yeah, there we go. So Charlie Daniels dies at 83. Song of the day. As usual, we'll see you on the flip side.